Hypnic jerk. A hypnic jerk is a sudden, involuntary muscle contraction that happens as your body transitions from wakefulness to sleep. This occurs during the hypnagogic phase, when brain activity begins to slow and muscles start relaxing. During this shift, the brain sometimes misinterprets muscle relaxation as a signal that the body is falling. In response, it sends a rapid burst of electrical signals to the muscles, causing a sudden jerk that wakes you up. This is often paired with the sensation of tripping or falling off something, your brain briefly turning into a very dramatic safety officer. Stimulants like caffeine, along with stress and sleep deprivation, increase the chances of this happening. These factors keep the nervous system more alert, making the brain less willing to fully shut down. Instead, it double-checks the situation by yanking you awake like it just saved your life. Sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis happens when the brain becomes conscious before the body exits REM atonia, a natural state where muscles are temporarily paralyzed during REM sleep. This mechanism prevents the body from acting out dreams. In this condition, the mind wakes up, but the body remains in this immobilized state. The result is full awareness combined with complete inability to move or speak. This mismatch creates a strong sense of helplessness, like being awake inside a paused character. At the same time, parts of the brain responsible for dreaming may still be active. This can cause hallucinations, visual, auditory, or physical sensations that often feel threatening. Combined with the inability to move, this can create intense fear, chest pressure, or the sensation of a presence nearby. The experience is essentially your brain loading reality and a nightmare at the same time, and not bothering to explain which one is real. Fragmented sleep. Fragmented sleep refers to repeated interruptions in sleep throughout the night. Even if total sleep time appears adequate, these interruptions prevent the brain from completing full sleep cycles. Sleep is organized into stages, including light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. Each stage plays a specific role in physical recovery and mental processing. Frequent awakenings disrupt this progression, forcing the brain to restart the cycle repeatedly. Causes include environmental disturbances, anxiety, chronic pain, alcohol use, or conditions like sleep apnea. Each disruption pulls the brain out of deeper stages, reducing overall sleep quality. The result is fatigue, poor concentration, and reduced immune function. It's similar to trying to charge your phone with a loose cable. It technically charges, but never enough to be useful. Exploding head syndrome. Exploding head syndrome is a condition where a person hears a sudden, loud noise during the transition into or out of sleep. The sound can resemble an explosion, gunshot, or crash, but it is entirely generated by the brain. This happens due to a brief misfiring of neurons in the auditory system as the brain powers down. Normally, brain functions deactivate in an organized sequence. When this sequence is disrupted, the auditory system may produce a sudden burst of activity. The experience is not physically painful, but it can be extremely alarming. Many people initially assume something serious has happened, such as a medical emergency. In reality, it is simply the brain shutting down for the night, but apparently with a flair for dramatic sound effects. Hypersomnia. Hypersomnia is characterized by excessive sleepiness despite long periods of sleep. Individuals may sleep for 10 or more hours and still wake up feeling unrefreshed. This occurs because the brain is not achieving sufficient restorative sleep or is unable to regulate wakefulness properly. The issue lies in sleep quality and neurological regulation rather than just duration. Causes can include neurological conditions, medication effects, or other sleep disorders like sleep apnea. The systems responsible for maintaining alertness remain underactive, leading to persistent fatigue. Daytime naps are common, but usually do not improve energy levels. The body continues to feel drained, as if the internal energy system is stuck showing low battery no matter how long it's plugged in. Sleep onset, insomnia. Sleep onset. Insomnia is the difficulty in falling asleep despite feeling tired. It is often caused by an overactive nervous system that does not transition properly into a resting state. Stress increases cortisol levels, which promote alertness. When cortisol remains elevated at night, the body stays in a state of readiness instead of relaxation. This leads to racing thoughts, increased heart rate, and an inability to disengage from wakefulness. The more a person tries to force sleep, the more alert the brain becomes. This creates a feedback loop where anxiety about not sleeping directly worsens the problem. The result is lying in bed, fully prepared for sleep, while the brain decides it's the perfect time to revisit every conversation from the last 5 years. Nocturnal leg cramps. Nocturnal leg cramps are sudden, painful muscle contractions that occur during sleep, most often in the calf muscles. These cramps can last from seconds to minutes and can be intense enough to wake a person immediately. They are typically caused by dehydration, electrolyte imbalances, or nerve-related issues. During sleep, reduced movement may contribute to improper muscle signaling, leading to sudden contractions. Even after the cramp subsides, the pain and alertness can make it difficult to fall back asleep. The body essentially interrupts rest with an unexpected muscle emergency. It is a very effective way for your leg to remind you that it exists, usually at the worst possible time. Sleepwalking. Sleepwalking occurs when motor activity is activated during deep, non-REM sleep, while conscious awareness remains inactive. This leads to physical movement without conscious control. The brain regions responsible for movement become active, but those responsible for reasoning and memory do not fully engage. As a result, individuals can perform actions such as walking, moving objects, or even more complex behaviors without awareness. Because the brain is not fully awake, there is typically no memory of the event afterward. Sleepwalking is more common in children but can occur in adults, especially with stress or sleep deprivation. It is essentially the body operating independently, making decisions without supervision, like running a system update with no one watching what's being installed. Bruxism. Bruxism is the involuntary grinding or clenching of teeth during sleep. It involves repeated jaw muscle activity that can place significant pressure on the teeth. Over time, this can lead to worn enamel, fractures, jaw pain, headaches, and temporomandibular joint issues. The condition is often linked to stress, anxiety, or dental misalignment. Because it happens during sleep, individuals are usually unaware of it unless informed by others or identified during a dental examination. The body continues to express tension even during rest. Essentially, stress finding a way to stay productive by working the night shift through your job. Cataphrenia. Cataphrenia is a sleep-related breathing condition characterized by long groaning sounds during exhalation. It differs from snoring in both sound pattern and underlying mechanism. The typical pattern involves a deep inhalation, followed by breath holding, and then a slow exhalation accompanied by a groaning sound. This usually occurs during REM sleep. The exact cause is not fully understood, but is linked to irregular breathing control during sleep. It is generally harmless, but can be disturbing to others due to the unusual sound. Most individuals are unaware of the condition unless informed by someone else. From the outside, it can sound unusual, like your body briefly deciding to contribute background audio to the night. Sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is a serious condition where breathing repeatedly stops and starts during sleep. In obstructive sleep apnea, the airway becomes partially or fully blocked due to relaxed throat muscles. Each pause in breathing reduces oxygen levels, prompting the brain to briefly wake the person to restore airflow. These awakenings are usually not remembered but occur frequently throughout the night. This repeated disruption prevents the body from entering deep, restorative sleep stages. Over time, it can lead to fatigue, cardiovascular issues, and cognitive decline. The body spends the night repeatedly restarting a basic function, breathing, like a system that keeps crashing and rebooting just to stay operational. Restless leg syndrome, RLS. Restless leg syndrome is a neurological condition that creates an uncontrollable urge to move the legs during periods of rest. The sensation is often described as tingling, crawling, or an internal itch. Movement temporarily relieves the sensation, but it returns when stillness resumes. This makes it difficult to fall asleep or remain asleep. The condition is linked to dysfunction in dopamine pathways, which regulate movement. It can be worsened by fatigue, stress, or certain deficiencies such as low iron. The result is a direct conflict between the body's need for rest and the brain's demand for movement, where staying still feels wrong, and sleep becomes something you have to negotiate with your own legs.